Te heu, Māori ora, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Greetings from New Zealand. The Māori word for New Zealand, incidentally, is Aotearoa, which means land of the long white cloud, so I feel very much home in Reykjavik today. Without further ado, I'll talk about Flux Federation. So Flux Federation is the technology arm of Powershop, the energy retailer. We started Powershop in New Zealand a bit over 10 years ago with very much the same philosophies as Machines talked about in terms of building customer engagement and live, while we were a digital business, building positive interactions with live customer service representation as well as customer self-service, and very much built a model that customers can engage with. I'll talk about that shortly. So Flux Federation was formed really to support the growth of the Powershop business model into other jurisdictions. So we now operate in New Zealand, Australia and the UK, I guess what you'd call a multinational franchise. Our role in that is to provide the brand support and the technology support, and each jurisdiction has essentially their own autonomous business, so that they have autonomy over their own operations but are supported by a common business model but nuanced for their market conditions. So this is a phrase I coined about 10 years ago about the energy industry. Designed and built by engineers, bastardised by economists and muddled by marketers, industry continues to deliver one of the most confusing consumer programs of all time. And I asked the question, is it really any different today? Some 10 years on, I think despite the best efforts, there is still confusion in the market. And to Rosemary's point about literacy in the marketplace, I don't think people have the time or the inclination to understand, I guess in a lot of cases, what I describe as vanity marketing campaigns. I describe as vanity marketing campaigns that are energy utilities talking to themselves rather than their customers. So retailers need to deliver a couple of things. They need to deliver much stronger, genuine value propositions to customers, and they need to develop methods to amend those propositions, improve those propositions, and change them as customers' needs change. And we're seeing customers' expectations and needs change more rapidly than ever. In essence, what we need is the same power with a different attitude. Everybody knows that it doesn't matter who you pay your bill to, it's the same electrons coming down the wires, and it's how you serve them and your philosophy around delivering good service propositions that's going to make the difference in terms of success or failure. And that's really where the Powershop story began, around building a much stronger consumer proposition, and one that was very genuinely customer-centric from the outset, focusing on all points of the customer journey. And really it was about giving power to the people. We've heard similar phrases from this morning's panel about relinquishing the power of the utility and giving it to consumers. We were very much about that, underpinned really by a proposition of control. So giving customers control over how they use their energy, how they monitor their consumption, and how they pay for their electricity. And we coined another phrase that energy consumers don't buy their energy, they just pay for it, and that's quite an important subtlety. So we built a shop, and coming back to the literacy point, customers have neither the time nor the inclination to go and dissect their energy bill and understand which regulatory charge applies to which one's the lines charge and which one's the energy charge. Doesn't really matter. Focus on stuff that's really important. So we use common language like, you're about $9 or 2 days ahead. Really simple to understand. Everybody can get at a glance what their current balance is. Show them some historic consumption information, again, simple, easy, understandable way. Present that information in a calendar, because people know how to use calendars, and have a power organiser. So make it really, really simple. And the other thing we've got is obviously mobile, but we have a shop, and customers can buy packages of power in what we call power packs. And what we've done is take electricity from being a utility to being a consumer good. Now we've got these tangible things, or quasi-tangible things, called power packs. We can do all sorts of interesting things to them. We can offer price discounts, which obviously encourages engagement. We have products that are just really there to have a bit of fun with customers. So engage them on an emotional level, treat them like people, not numbers. products around greenness, so carbon offset products or tied back to certification against a renewable source, or things like community sponsorship programs. All of these things become possible when you have this tangible thing called a power pack. So we took our business model from New Zealand and took it to other jurisdictions, first to Australia and more recently to the UK. And it really is about sharing that flexibility and the ability to engage with customers across different energy utilities across the world, and obviously a strong proposition in competitive markets where it's becoming more and more saturated. So control is at the core of what we do. That's what we've found is what customers are really looking for and really desire. But we're not a command and control sort of structure. We know that different markets operate differently and customer expectations are different in different markets. So we operate more of a hub and spoke model around that. So centered around control is different propositions in different markets or delivering that in a different way. So New Zealand being our most mature market, we're a bit over 10 years old in the New Zealand context. It's become important that equality is considered in that market. So if you're a new customer, you often get a sign-up incentive where you get financial rewards to come on board. As an existing customer, you often get overlooked. So we've focused on delivering equality and making sure that customers get value over their tenure with Powershop as an organisation. Australia, not known for its renewable generation. Fortunately, Powershop is associated with Meridian Energy in Australia and has solely 100% renewable portfolio of generation assets. That has been a really strong message for that market and something that we've leveraged. And more recently in the UK is question or the proposition of ownership. The UK customers have been ingrained in, I guess, design to not understand how their consumption links to their bill. And they have at best annual meter reads and they have fixed monthly payments, which all create the disconnection between consumption and payment, which is the exact opposite of what customers really need. So I'll rattle through this quickly in terms of some of the flexible things that we've introduced in the market. So I talked about Australia being strong on sustainability. We introduced a community solar program where, again, with these power packs, packages of power, customers could buy a particular power pack and contribute to a renewable energy project in the community and supporting sort of grassroots level of investment into renewable projects. New Zealand, I talked about equality. Again, we took our proposition, what we can do is set up consumer groups based on tenure and offer customers who have been with Powershop in New Zealand for a longer period of time a bigger discount, so they get rewarded for their loyalty. And finally, in the UK, we felt that the disconnect between consumption and cost was so great, so we had to offer the ability for customers to learn the ropes as they go, so offered them an entry point that allowed them to come in on something that they were more familiar with and let them grow into understanding their consumption and how that relates to the size of their bill. The other thing we've done is made it really easy to bring in new players. So on a basic billing platform, we can bring in a new entity into the market in something like 6 to 8 weeks once we've already established in a marketplace. So we've done a couple of those in the UK, bringing in some sports clubs. In Australia, we brought in, or we're in the process of bringing in a company called DC Power who has a focus on renewable energy at a domestic level. And selling those technologies. So we can bring those new players to market really, really quickly with different propositions. And they're, a multifaceted space invasion, if you like. So that's really me. So thank you.